Rebound and rebuild.
In life, you don't lose, you learn.
Every one of us has potential.
100%.
The winner is...
Here we go. Rebound and rebuild. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rebound and Rebuild. I am Coach Charles with my man
Carlos the Creator right here.
Oh my God. I don't know if you like dabbed. I don't know.
That's
if
a dab, right?
Yeah, well,
kind of. I can't move with this jacket. I'm like, just because I lost 8 pounds, I think I'm super skinny.
Good, yeah.
It does affect your confidence, which is what we're talking about today.
We're talking about confidence today, my man. Well, you're looking good, though,
Thank
bro.
You did too, as
I
per
appreciate
usual.
that sincerely, man. Hey, so we're talking about confidence, just like you said, and we were just getting into it for the last episode. For those of you who've been with us, we were really like getting into the meat of it, and we feel like there's so much we want to offer you here, and we hope that you stick with us through the rest of this because this is going to be a great conversation. Yeah. Now, when we were talking last, we were kind of superficially reaching confidence from the topical layer, but there was some deeper stuff we wanted to get to. So tell me about some things that have happened in the last time or since we spoke last time for you. Confidence. I've been seeing you posting some new things. And
honestly, I think, and it's not, you can think of it as a superficial thing, but like the way you look externally really reflects what you feel internally.
Yeah.
And I know it's corny, or I know everyone says that, but it is true.
Absolutely.
Like, one of the things that I've been doing has been, I've actually been losing weight.
There you go, brother.
Yes. And I've been working out.
Yes,
and I think I said that last time, but anyway, but at the beginning you don't see results and you kind of get kind of annoyed at yourself. Like, am I doing things? Am I doing them wrong? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then when you start noticing, you know,
that's right, that
you're down a belt size and that like the jacket would be extra stretchy on you now actually fits. So
you can pull back that old stuff from college.
That tends to, you know, boost your morale, your confidence to a different level. So as we're talking about this, have externally been more confident in who I am.
That's awesome.
And sometimes, you know, like for example, this is I don't even know what kind of jacket this is, but it's like
a cool sweat.
It's not like you see this jacket everywhere, especially here in Orlando, like maybe in New York or LA, like people do. But sometimes you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't wear it because people might think that I'm like being pretentious or like maybe, you know, you just think people might judge you. But it's like, whatever. Yeah. I'm going to rock it. I'm going to feel it.
I am. That's right.
And you do get those, you know, double takes and people looking at you and you're like, if they love it, great. And if they don't, I love it.
I'm confident.
So that's a little bit of confidence.
Very cool, man. That's a great place to start, man. I think people will be proud of you because you're not just talking about it, you're being about it. And that was something that we mentioned last time. Confidence also is relative to consistency. You keep putting in the work and you become more and more confident. It's like those little wins. So anyway, moving beyond that, bro, we wanted to talk a little bit deeper because now we want to talk about the truth of confidence. What's up?
You did mention a character. Remember you said you were you had mispronounced or referenced the wrong character or something. Send me a text. So maybe you can tell them which character was.
Well, I have to, it's not even a character. I have to look this up, dude. What did I send you?
You sent me a text and you said, this is the guy I was talking about.
Yeah.
His name is Benjamin Banneker. Oh, and you said Benjamin Banneker.
Benjamin Banneker. Okay, that's what it was. Lewis Latimer. Yes. Okay. I had to think about what you were even referencing. But yes, last week, just really interestingly enough, I had mentioned Benjamin Banneker, who's another figure in history, especially African-American history. But Lewis Latimer was actually the inventor of the cotton polyfilament that actually created the light for Edison's bulb. He couldn't get it to last longer than a few seconds up to a minute. And that guy figured out how to twine the cotton and it actually elongated light. So that's why we have modern light bulbs today. But anyway, that's just a side note. Go look it up. Promise I'm not making that up.
But anyway, we're talking about confidence.
Okay. All right. We're ready to dive in. Yes, so this level of confidence we're talking about. What the heck, Carlos?
We haven't told them. Like, subscribe.
Oh, man.
Do all
that stuff, man. That's just formalities. We know you like what we're doing.
And we were talking about her earlier. You know, we started this not thinking anybody would listen to it or it would go anywhere. Honestly, we were just being obedient. We wanted to do it together.
Right.
And to grow together as we were building life and building businesses and careers. But it's been so amazing to hear others and your stories, guys, of how like what we're talking about is not only influencing, but like turning on lights like in your head, like, hey, maybe I should be doing this, maybe I should be doing that. So again, much appreciated, much love. Like, subscribe, share the podcast. Let us know if you like it. Keep telling us and keep giving us stories. We'd love to share on our podcast here. So I'm sorry, no more interruptions.
It's all good.
Back to
By
confidence.
this time, they're like, all right, if this is how these guys are going to continue this show, I think I'm going to find something else. No, I'm joking, brother.
No, I love you.
Yeah,
I know you love me. So.
There's no doubts about it. But we were just talking about the deeper levels of confidence.
Yes.
And I think that, like I said, if you stick with us through this ride, you'll really be impacted. So there's a scripture. It's a life scripture for me. It's in Proverbs. I think it's Proverbs 14.
Right.
And it says, in the fear of the Lord, one has strong confidence. But then it continues.
Yeah.
And it says, and his children will always have a place of refuge. I think it's 14:6. And the crazy thing about that scripture, and I get it, again, all our listeners aren't necessarily believers, aren't Christian. We're Christian men. We incorporate our faith into our leadership. We don't push it upon anyone, but we do want you to understand these truths, they're spiritual truths. So even if you don't completely agree with them, just take the wisdom from them, because I'm telling you, it will change and impact your life and the lives that you want to impact and should be impacting.
Yeah.
But that's a powerful thought. Strong confidence doesn't come from within, right? There's a source of that confidence. And if you know who God is, or if you know how big he is, you can be very confident that you are taken care of, even whether it's an inconvenience, or if there's a discomfort, or if there's just a straight up bad time, right? But the truth of is what we were talking about in that scripture is not only will you be strong and people will see it, but your kids, for those of you who have kids, for those of you watching who have kids, they can be confident.
Yes.
Because they always know daddy got it.
Exactly.
The more confident our kids see us, our nephews, our nieces, the people we're influenced, they're going to say, I know I'm good because I can trust that they have confidence.
Exactly.
I can at least put some faith in that. What does that mean to you?
You don't realize it, but you do. Personal story. I grew up in a home where dad was pretty much, I don't want to say the unconfident one, because he was confident in what he did, but he was more of the shy, like kind of kept to himself, wasn't very
extroverted.
No, introverted.
Okay, no, I'm saying he wasn't very.
He was not extroverted, and to me, I definitely never kind of connected with that, because I'm so much of an extrovert, where mom is the extrovert. Mom is the one that exuded confidence. And to be quite frank, like I was like, what's going on with dad? Like he knows what he's doing. Like he knows what he's talking about. Like, but it was just talking about confidence. It, like, for me, because I connected more with mom and I saw so much confidence in her, that growing up, I grew up with a lot of confidence. I grew up with who I was and knowing and loving that this is who I am and this is how I do things, and it doesn't matter. However, with years of life, and I'm sure all of you guys go through this with ups and downs,
right?
And, doors shutting in your face, you tend to kind of dwindle on the confidence line there. But I grew up very confident, but I did get that from mom. And just going back and backing up what you said, it's so true. The people you're around are the people that you influence, and it starts at home.
That is exactly right.
It doesn't matter if you have kids or not.
That's right.
You, your wife, your roommates, whoever you live with.
If it's you
home.
by yourself.
Exactly. I was just talking about if it's you and a dog, you'll cause confidence in your dog.
And that's true. Dogs feel and sense that. We have a dog, Scooby, right? It's an awesome dog. But one of the things we've been doing is training him. We train him in different languages. He's really obedient. And we were trying to teach our in-laws the same thing with him. And they're recognizing that this dog, the more you discipline him, the more you direct him, the more he just says, oh, I got it, because I don't have to be the pack leader. He's trying to define that. He's like, well, if you're not it, I'll be it. I was like, nah, bro, that's not how this goes.
I'm the alpha.
Yeah.
But it's so true, man. It's so, and I agree fully. Your first platform of confidence showing is at home.
Yeah, bro.
Your kids will absorb all that. Your 100%. Kids will grow from that. Your wife, your spouse will absorb that and grow from that. Like, and that's probably the last place you think you need to be confident in.
Because we project it out in the world, and then when we get home, now I will say that there's an added benefit of being able to be oneself at home, where you can release the facade, so to speak. But that's the problem. See, last week we were kind of touching on confidence on the superficial, the external. You have to do that and be that out in the world. But that didn't come from an eternal source. Exactly. That wasn't like in the root of us. That's the show we put on to survive through the day. Yes. But when you're confident at home, you can take that confidence out in the world and it thrives and lives, and you're just tired from work. There's a difference. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh God, I just made a fool of myself the whole day. We were talking about imposter syndrome earlier before we even did the podcast. It's like people walking out with imposter syndrome and feeling like they're not worthy of the seat that they're in. And that's, again, rooted from the fact that their confidence is only in their self.
Exactly. And sometimes the imposter syndrome comes and creeps in without you even noticing.
Yes.
Like there's situations that I've seen my wife in, and she's an amazing leader. And
yes,
like, she's got a strong persona, and like she has authority. But there's times where I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't marry you. Get out of here. I married the confident you, because she's dealt with this imposter syndrome of like, oh man, I don't belong. All these women are millionaires. All these women are this. And I'm like, but you're at the seat.
It's your seat.
You're at the seat. You belong.
You belong.
It doesn't matter if you can own a jet or a yacht, or it matters that you are at the seat.
And you're
at the seat for a reason. There's a purpose for that.
Yes.
So no imposter syndrome can rob you from that.
Yes.
And that's to every one of us. Like,
yes.
There's always going to be better people. There's always going to be people that do things in a better way.
But remember, Remember, we talked about that.
That doesn't mean that the way you're doing it is a bad way. It's just a different way, a way that suits you.
Yes.
So, man, the imposter syndrome is a whole
that's a whole and we're going to talk about that again. Yeah, absolutely. And even with that, it's like the reason why people deal with imposter syndrome, or they have that lack of confidence, is because there's a fear there.
Yeah.
They're afraid of, what if other people find me out? What if something bad happens? What if I fail? What if I hurt myself?
Isn't it
all
funny?
These things.
We give people too much credit.
Too much credit. And I'm like, and not even realizing it's just like that old story with the duck. And I sometimes hate cliches, but again, there are power in these analogies. Ducks, when you watch them on the water, floating gracefully.
Yeah.
I mean, just beautiful turns, like they're synchronized. They never look like they're sweating. But underneath that water is this. You know what I mean? Like, it's 100%. Or synchronized swimming. Have you ever looked at them from underneath?
I have. Dude, and I'm like, okay.
Yes.
Now I see. On top, you're like, oh, they're like swans.
And they're doing this.
Below, it's like.
And their legs always look like this. It's like
they're Kung Fu ninjas. No, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And that's the point. So we're always giving people so much credit for what we see above the water and not realizing that there's a lot of this underneath it. So instead of like looking at them thinking, how do they do it? Look at yourself and I'm doing it too. That's it. Because they're looking at you thinking that in many cases. Man, I don't know how they do it. She belongs in this seat. Exactly. We need her here. We need that here. Why? Because to them, you're the person above water that looks like you're just floating gracefully.
Yeah.
And I always ask for that. So I was saying that for a reason, though, because there's another thought that continues with that. The confidence issue with spirituality says, do not be afraid of the pestilence or the wicked when it comes, because it's going to come, right? You're going to face, based upon your passion, based upon your pursuit, your purpose, or your just desire to move forward, you're going to run into resistance.
Yeah.
But he said, don't fear that. So you can't get to sweating just because you ran into some challenges. That's the cost of confidence. If you weren't confident, you wouldn't have anything to resist you, because no one cares.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You know you're doing something when you're running into challenges and when life throws stuff at you. The car happens here. Yes, they're circumstantial, but they're never right on time. Like, it's like, this is the worst time.
Yeah.
But you have something to offer that maybe there's something greater trying to keep you from getting there. You keep pushing forward. Yeah. But it says, don't fear that terror. Don't fear when something happens like that, because the Lord will be your confidence. That's why I said it has to be deeper than you.
Yeah.
It will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. And I was going to say this, and we've talked about this multiple times. I hate to kick a dead horse, which I'm grateful that it's finally dying. But COVID, by the time that people watch this episode in particular, you will have seen the lax of all these rules in some of the most strenuous and stringent states, right? Things that people thought were going to take forever did not. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. When you look at 2 years of all this that we've been through as a nation, as a world, it's gone. And a lot of people were caught because they had so much fear. Instead of trusting in, this is a confident time for me to do and take advantage of whatever I needed to. I got furloughed. Great. I was asking for another opportunity anyway.
I wasn't happy where I was.
I wasn't happy where I was. This is the time to move. Great resignation. I've been wanting to try and do this dream. Hey, here's some PPP loan. There was all kinds of stuff, man. And some people are now looking back like, dang, I'm right back in the trap, and the door was open.
You didn't take advantage of the opportunity when it presented.
Just a step.
At the time. My old boss used to say this phrase, which I adopted. And it came from one of his, heroes in faith. But it was, you can't take advantage. You have to take advantage of the opportunity during the lifetime of the opportunity. Because that opportunity only has a season.
It's a cycle.
So the season will end and there's no more door open for it. So you can't find the same door. I mean, it's closed.
No Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, like exactly. So you have to take advantage when it comes. But I think that's even like going to the internal confidence.
Yes, that's right.
Sometimes we don't trust our gut.
Yes.
The way we should.
The way we should.
Our gut tells us when we need to go to the toilet or when we need to eat or when, you ate something bad. However, there are those feelings. And I tell my wife all the time, what does your gut tell you?
That's right.
I recently heard a podcast on financial leadership, and they were saying how when you feel that like weird feeling, scary feeling in your gut,
trust
that's when you need to step up.
Yep.
If you don't feel that,
you're good.
And again, it's like because we are made of body, spirit, and soul.
That's it.
And sometimes we want to do everything in our body, our physical. There's a spirit and there's a soul in us that communicate with us too and tell us like, Carlos, don't take that left. Keep going straight. There's a right coming. It's just a little bit further. And it's like, okay, let me take.
And sometimes you're like, go now.
And it's like, take right, go. Even if you cause an accident.
Oh my gosh. We're not literally talking about driving.
But anyway, there's countless stories where it's like people like, man, if I only would have trusted my gut feeling, where it's like, I knew I should have taken the right. I took the left and I got into a wreck. I took a right. I went too early. Something happened. It's just that trust, because your gut is not necessarily your gut. It's your spirit. It's your soul in you.
There's a scientist, and I have to find his name. So if you're watching and you've heard of this, it's some neuroscience, and there's a lot of research on this regarding our gut actually being our brain. So we've been over millennia trained to believe that our brain is thinking, but our gut in every instance gives us the information before our brain even knows what it is. So you get that feeling, and then you said exactly right. Why am I feeling this? Or I feel this feeling or this tingling or this nervousness or this, I don't know, but I think I just have to do this. That goes beyond your mental capacity to make logical sense of it. And that's why we tell people you have to start recognizing on the inside of you, there's a person that actually is living through this physical body. This is not your real existence. You know what I'm saying? And I love how people who don't believe in God at all, and this is not a knock on you, this is just a thought. I want you to really think about it. They may not believe in God at all, but they believe in energy. And they understand it because a lot of people are smart, bro. Like super, not just educated, but they know how science works and how energy can never be destroyed. It can only, so that's my point. If energy can never be destroyed and it's in this body, that means you are an energy being first.
Yes.
You are a soul first.
Yes.
There is an internal component of you that is there. Despite your denial, it exists. And you've used it, if you really think about it, your whole entire life. Some people who are millionaires, some people who have made some great decisions, they trusted. And they say, I trusted myself. I trusted my gut.
Yes.
Well, that meant you trusted who you were on the inside. Not this.
Not this.
But anyway.
It's like, you know, you've heard those stories about like, oh, the mom lifted the car off the child because of, you know, whatever, he got trapped in. And it's like, how does
physical body can't do that, bro. But
you know, there's an internal, and sometimes it's like, oh, a special source. Maybe there was like a guardian angels.
Angels, I believe in that.
But also, you are made of body, spirit, and soul. That's another podcast.
But that's a great point. So as we've laid that very well, there's some other things that hopefully if you've taken the ride with us this far, we're really going to challenge you here. Because I found, and I think that there are 4 areas or 4 things that cause us to not have confidence, the confidence that we're talking about that moves people, the confidence that changes culture, the confidence that says, I may not have the resource or know how, but I'm going to go for it anyway.
Gotcha.
That type of confidence. And the first thing is we're not confident because we're always looking for other people to support us, which is one part of it, but we are not in support of other people. Now, I know if you heard that, you felt that. Because the truth of the matter is we have memes, we have reels and all things going around social media of people speaking, saying you were there for everyone else. You did this for everyone else. Now, short time. To some degree, that's true. But if we're really honest with ourselves, we're probably spending more time comparing, which is what we talked about, judging, condemning, or either being jealous of the other things we see people doing as opposed to being supportive.
Exactly.
When I look at, and this is a problem that plagues I really say the minority communities in America, because we're not minorities in the world, but the minority community in America, people of color. What happens is you were talking about it in the sense of crabby Christians or crabs in a barrel and those analogies. Yeah. But we don't support our businesses. Think about it. You go to all your friends, go down the list and ask how many of them have actually said, yo, if you need money, I'll give it to you. I even came to, I remember that. And you're like, bro,
succeed.
We don't, we got it, which was a blessing because I was proud of you. But we were ready because that's what we're missing. You have to be ready to support other people's dreams.
So ready.
And that support will give you confidence because you know that they'll remember and they'll be there for you when it's your turn. Yeah. That's why we're not confident because we're looking around one another, everyone else to be in support of us. But who have you supported?
Yeah. Ask yourself that question first.
Ask yourself that question.
Before you want support.
Before you want support.
Sometimes, you know, when you throw businesses and you start businesses, you need to risk money somehow. And many times you ask for a bank loan. Many times you have your own savings, like in our case, we throw our own money. And sometimes you're like looking for angel investors or investors to invest in your business. Yes. And sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, no one wants to invest. No one wants to do this. No one believes in my dream. Right. But it's like,
really?
Have you invested with someone else? Have you helped someone else's dreams come true?
Yes.
Like, it's the me mentality. We've talked about this in the past where it's like, we're so selfish as humanity and our nature is to be selfish.
Right. We have to work against that nature.
That it's like, hey buddy, like, have you thought of, remember, I gave the example of my sister-in-law, Masi, where it's like, and there's so many other people like within my family. I don't have to look far enough. Like my sister-in-law, Alex, as well, like who threw herself and pushed herself to do something that she didn't want to. And now she's very successful what she does. my sister Yessie, who's like, he lives in Arizona and she's like killing it as a mom. And it's like, put her career on the side just to throw herself. And my other sisters, I have so many sisters.
It could be like all day. And my other sister.
My sister Viv, who actually is in the studio with us right now, like trying different ideas, different concepts to get ahead. And
all of that, which was awesome because you and your confidence actually created a door which she felt confident enough was going to be the door for her.
And exactly. Remember, my door was Mossy's example. She opened the door without her even knowing,
and you walked
made me jump. If I hadn't have opened this door, so many other people wouldn't have known to jump in to do, because people are waiting. I'm not going to say people are waiting on other people, because that's not the term.
But you may be the key to their next step.
You don't know who the Lord and His grace is going to use to catapult you to that next phase.
Yeah, boy, I love this conversation.
And sometimes you don't want to see that person because you're so prideful and you're like, I want to get this on my own.
Or first.
That's
the worst.
And it's like, buddy, share the vision with
the people that you're supposed to.
And get the support that you need.
But give the support that you need first.
Exactly.
And I think that it's very important to say this right now, because this goes way beyond business. This is life now. It may not be monetary support, because I know everyone, it's funny, we all want to succeed. First of all, most of humanity kind of wants the same things, right?
Yeah.
But even if you boil all the way down, you want a pleasant life, you want to help other people. That should be what it kind of boils down. But unfortunately, we always get stuck on money, which is it's not a problem, because we have to use resources. I love hearing people talk about this all the time. They're like, you want to change someone's life, you want to build a school, do it without money. You want to send a kid to college, you want to really help educate this young person that you really believe in, do it without money. It's not an evil thing.
Right.
It's our hearts that we have to deal with. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's the love of money. That means our heart is attached to it.
Yes.
Where I won't even have the capacity to support someone else if I had it. So
we only see value, monetary value.
Yeah. Now, going back to the other thing is, if you don't have money,
you can't do it.
No.
Well,
give them harder, of yourself.
Exactly.
Again, heart. If you haven't supported someone's dream, like, yo, I really believe in you, and said that with your honesty, and whatever you need, I may not be able to fund you, but do you need a helping hand?
Yeah.
What? You're selling t-shirts? Maybe I can come one day this week and just box it, just to show you, man, I appreciate your dream.
I buy you guys coffee.
Just something. People remember that. Anyway, we've kind of really kicked that one really good, because I think people get it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, we just think that the value in what we need. My wife keeps saying this. She says it so much. Stop helping me in what you think I need help with. Help me in what I need help with. Sometimes we think, oh, they need a loan. They need money. They need this. And it's like, sometimes I just need a buddy to go have a cigar with. And just like talk about the game, or talk about the Formula 1 that's coming up. Or distract me to a point where it's like, I just can get a few hours of whatever.
Or just allow me to know that you're actually there.
My mom, she's been such a blessing to my wife and I. All our parents have, but I would say my mom's been one of the greatest ones, because she has no money. And she says, obviously, I depend on your father for finances. But it's like, but what I do have is 2 arms, 2 legs, and a mind that can help you with whatever you need.
Wow.
And last year when we started this venture of businesses and whatnot, she was the first person to like say, hey, I'll come home, I'll help you in whatever thing you need. Without expecting anything. Without wanting anything.
And you didn't even have to ask.
I did not. And dude, let me tell you, we have been able to pay her a salary without lacking, like, and just, her giving of herself brought a return
for her because it was unexpected.
Exactly.
And it wasn't the intent. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what we're going to get down to, because what you just did is open the door to really what culminates the truth of confidence. So the next thing then, moving on, is maybe some of us don't have confidence because there are coworkers that we secretly have these embattlements, right? Where we hate what they're doing. You ever heard of dog whistle politics?
No.
Well, I'm going to really, really dumb it down, and someone's going to say I could have dumbed it down a little bit better. But dog whistle politics is when you're kind of pretending. You're saying, I'm willing to support what you're doing and face value.
Right.
But behind closed doors, you're working to undermine and take away any effort that this person is really trying to make. Yep. You're just playing the dog whistle. You're like, yeah, man, let's go. I'm with you, buddy. And as soon as that person says charge, you're like, oh, I gotta go grab something out of the car. You know what I mean? But that's the point. So some of us can't find support because people can't depend on us to be authentic. That's 100% true in our workforce and sometimes even our family. Yeah. And you said earlier today about how you're defining who you are, the I am in you, which is a very big topic. That's a very big topic that's covered in our book. And hope you guys check it out. It's called The Flight of Your Life, The Power of Propulsion. And it's available anywhere books are sold, including Amazon. But great plug there. But nonetheless, we're talking about defining I am. When you're confident in that, you're able to be authentic to where you don't have to put on the facade. Right. Where you can genuinely support people who you don't even necessarily like. Yeah. I love what Jesus says, even if you don't consider him as a son of God, whatever, his wisdom. And he was talking about what should you do with your enemies? Yeah. Do you destroy your enemies? Did I ask you to combat your enemies? I'm paraphrasing on purpose. Yeah. He's like, no, love your enemies. Yeah. Okay, what about the people that curse you and look you at your face and tell you, nah, bro, you ain't never gonna be, you ain't gonna do, and I don't even think you. You understand? What did he say? Yeah. Bless them. Yeah. You do that, bro. If that's coming from the authenticity of who you are, the Bible says that even a man's enemies will be at peace with him. Yeah. We have control in the situation. That brings confidence when you know that that is what it says and that's how it works. Yeah. I don't really just love the notion of letting someone punch me in the face and turn another cheek. I'm telling you, I got something for you. I'm gonna hit you so hard that you're gonna forget we got in a fight. But I am gonna befriend you. After you wake up, I'll be like, yo, man, we really didn't have to go that far, bro. You know what I mean?
Sorry, here's some ice.
But I'm saying that as a joke. Yeah. But the point I'm making is he was using that analogy of turning the other cheek because it was like, honestly speaking, if you turn the other cheek, a lot of times people, it's not that they're like, oh, look at him, I can bully him, I'm gonna keep punching him. Right? And we're not talking about like the school bully that punches you in the stomach and you're just like, I keep turning the other cheek and he punches me. We're talking about confidence in the fact that you're so strong, just like in the movies. You see it all the time. Yeah. Big dude, punched in the face. Boom. Turns back here. He didn't even throw a punch yet. Every time that happens, what happens in the movie? Dude's like, they back up and you already know you're about to get smashed. That type. Yeah. All right. But anyway, and the other thing is we're not confident because we're contentious. Contentious. That means that no matter who we talk to, no matter who we're in conversation with, we're always in some form of battle. We always focus on the negative. We always have something to say. And it's never, ever positive. Or if we think it's positive and we were to ask them, they were like, absolutely not. Because we always have the negative on our mind. Or we're going to find and highlight the negative. Exactly. Always contentious. Always a battle.
But it's our nature.
But again, that's also why we don't have confidence. Because we refuse to deal with ourselves because we're projecting it on everyone else.
Projection. That's a big one. You project everything you're feeling, joy, sadness, anything. You don't realize it and you project it onto others. You project your lack of or your more of, and that's where confidence projects on those people around you.
Sure.
You know, Charles talking about putting the other cheek and
projection,
projecting, and like my sister, who's here in the studio with us, just actually asked permission to share this. I really had an opportunity to influence her in the wrong way or the good way. And let me just share a quick little example or quick little story. She got laid off from her previous employer, and they kind of did her dirty. And it was like almost like very subliminal or like very like hidden, like almost like in a way where like, oh, we're not doing you dirty,
right?
but they did.
Oh, shady is a good word too.
And the thing is, she was with him for like about 5 years. Wow. She was with him for a while, and just what they did or how they did things, it was like with lack of honor, with lack of integrity, just like almost like, okay, let's move on.
Right.
And again, I know it's businesses and you have to move on. Doesn't give any excuse. Yeah, there's no excuse. But it hurt her, and she was really like dwelling with a little bit of pain. And I told her this. I was like, hey, listen, you need to get that out.
Yeah.
And you need to send an email and just say what you feel in the email with respect.
Right, definitely.
But do not leave that place or keep going in life with something.
Bearing that.
Because I tell you by experience, it'll just fester and it'll always come back and come back and come back and come back. Like you'll always think about it.
That is very true.
And it's like, just let it go.
Right. Find a way to forgive and let it go. We talked about that.
And it's a way of putting you the other cheek. Like with respect, of course, because you could totally
we're not talking about those dumb emails where people
crazy and like start throwing punches.
Nope.
It's, hey, listen, this hurt me. You guys did this. I would like to know why.
Sure.
If you mind sharing.
Yes.
If not, don't worry. I get it. Thank you for the years and the opportunities.
Yes.
However, this, I feel like this and this and that.
Yes.
And that way it's out. You've thrown it out. You put your other cheek and you've moved on.
Yes.
Because what's going to happen, whatever you got laid off for or whatever, that's always going to mess with your confidence. Or is this going to happen to me in the next place?
Right.
Is there a problem with me?
Yes.
Did I cause this?
I've dealt with that.
And there was no issue. There was no reason.
None. Yeah. Sometimes
why they really, they told her that it was financial issues, but then it seemed like she was the only one. So it's like, is it really financial issues? Or
even if it was, it could at least explain to me.
Yeah. You could say, was my performance poor? Was I a bad employee? Whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, but what I liked about her, she'd send the email and dude, you should see her now.
Yes.
It's like,
I'm good.
Yeah. But the thing is, sometimes we don't nip things at the roots.
Yes.
Talk about it. And then this is where like putting the other cheek, because it takes humility to put the other cheek.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
When you get slapped on the right side of the face, you're red and like, oh, I'm going to start throwing punches.
Yes.
So it's hard to put the left.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where it's like, you can't get ahead in life because it always clings on you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you portray and say, oh, I'm fine. But there's always something. So advice, if I can, putting the other cheek means putting your pride down and swallowing it and going and telling and speaking and just being firm.
I love it. And you're free.
And you're free. You're set free.
It's
and
so
it's
amazing.
Not really like, I think when the Lord said it and tells us in the Bible that it's not really meant for the accuser or the...
Yes, it is for us.
It's for us.
100%.
It says forgive 7 times 7. Like, well, 70
because you remain in
like.
Control. It's the funniest thing. We want that.
Yeah, nothing controls you.
We want that so much and don't realize that we're literally giving away our control.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Control
our confidence,
freaks.
we give it to people.
There it is.
And I'm assuming in athletics, this is a big factor.
With control or with confidence? Well, of course. Now that's a totally
like
different.
coaches and people and other athletes can take your confidence away. You don't even realize it.
And that's true. And I'm going to say this. That's a good segue. It's not exactly the transition I was going for, but I want to tell you that was brilliant because I have lived that as a coach with athletes where I've looked at other people and how they coach and how their athletes are and what they do. And it's a part of growth. You're trying to define who you are as a coach or as an athlete or as a business person, whatever it is. But that is the segue into the last thing that steals our confidence. And that is because we're looking at everyone else's example and we get discouraged when we feel like the good guys finish last. So I'm going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. How to not give a... You understand? Great book, by the way. It doesn't mean exactly what he said. If you read that book, he doesn't talk about it in that sense. But everyone's initial response is, I'm going to care less.
Gotcha.
And so now you start looking at everything from the perspective of, I need to become more angry. I need to become more violent. I got to take what's mine. I need to start stepping on people to get there, because that's how the people in power got there. Actually, those are some of the weakest people on the planet. Mm-hmm. They're just in a position of power.
Yeah.
I can get a title that makes me feel empowered.
Yeah.
But on the inside, that person that we're talking about that's actually real knows I'm the weakest dude in the room.
Yeah.
Exactly. The weakest guy in the room. Mm-hmm. There's books that talk about power that's, really popular right now. I won't give any descriptions just in case someone takes offense to it, the author or anyone for that. But there are books that really talk about how to manipulate people.
Yeah.
How to use your ability to really dominate an environment.
Yeah.
To create the world you want to live in, the worldview you want to shape for people, and you're forcing them to submit to. That's basically what these books talk about. Yeah. And that is how we lose our confidence, because we're not authentic to ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that type of power does not last long. And it is riddled with fear. As much as people think that they're strong, they are weak. Mm-hmm. It is riddled with risk. And I'm not talking about the risk that brings reward. I'm talking about risk of losing it all, because at one moment's exposure, everything crumbles. Mm-hmm. It's a house of cards. That's another reason why we're not confident.
And it's funny how, going on athletics, but even in business, people's wins are necessarily a bad thing for us.
Yeah.
It should be an encouragement.
Every time it should be.
When you see, at least it's happened to me, like I've seen my sister-in-laws win, both of them in their careers. My sister as a mother, my other sisters at work, my brothers, my friends, they win. And it could be so easy for me, and it was, while you're going through a phase of depression or anger or whatever, period, to see other people's wins and see them as a negative, especially a negative to you.
Yes.
And it's like, a win should be an encouragement.
That is possible.
If I see you win, first, I love that you won. I'm cheering you on, but it's like, I can also win.
Yes.
And it's like, as human nature, and it goes back to like Cain and Abel in the Bible, where it's like one son's sacrifice was, quote unquote, looked better than the other. Right. And I always read that I always read that in the Bible, and I was like, man, like
that doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense. And then, but it's because the heart issue.
Yes.
And that's like, and it goes back to that, where it's like one guy's win was the other guy's demise or loss.
And he only did it because it's like,
but that doesn't mean it's got to be, a bad thing. Yes. Your brothers win, your neighbors win, your competitors win. That should be an encouragement to you to win as well.
Yes. And to know that it's still possible.
Exactly.
And there's a couple of things that you can draw to that. One, we still have proximity to winners, right? Think about it. You were talking about them and your family.
Yeah.
Now, if pride would have been something that you held on to, you could have literally, whatever, I don't care, they think they're so good, and drawn all these narratives and then put yourself further and further back, and guess what it would have done to your confidence? It would have destroyed it. Mm-hmm. Or you could cheer them on, or at the very least say, listen, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Or I've been watching you, man. Because sometimes they'll tell you, man, I spent 16 hours last night doing this thing, and I was doing this each week, and I took this course, and I went here, and then I had this therapist, and you didn't know all that was there to make that win.
Yeah.
So now you have steps.
Yeah.
But then on top of it as well, you have the capacity to say, if it's that close to me, then it may be my turn next. I heard a preacher say this. It was the most awesome statement, because I've heard everyone kind of use this scripture, and it's cool. But he was talking about, I'll just keep it short. He basically was talking about how other people's blessings, just like you said, should be a confidence to us.
Yeah.
He said, because what's meant for you, no matter what you try to do, unless you completely abandon it, is meant for you.
Yeah.
And he said,
it's coming for you.
He said, it's just like the mailman.
Yeah.
He said, God is a type of God who delivers mail on time, every time. And he said, if you look to your left or your right and you see your neighbor got that blessing, he said, you ought to be excited, so excited to say, at least the mailman's in the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's a way to change it, because it's close enough to me to know that these are the same people. If they're winning, just like you did for your family, maybe they can make a door for me. Maybe I can support their dream, and that will actually splice off into what I need to be doing. Yeah. You don't know.
Yeah.
Be supportive.
And just, I mean, off topic, but like, I'm thinking about family issues. And I was reading, obviously I'm a parent, so I'm reading this book on parenting. And in the book, it's talking about how as parents, we have the responsibility to make sure that within our kids, there is no spirit of competition between them and also between cousins. Like the book was saying, giving an example how there was certain kids in the family, the parents felt less and less and less. And this was a personal story of theirs because it was like, oh, they weren't financially at a better level.
Right.
They said their kids were not good looking enough or, they were the runts of the family. So that mentality kept growing. And it was so funny to see as I'm reading the story in the book, and I'm like, wow, like, I do feel like I've had cousins who like I don't see. They're so away, so like removed. But it's like going back to analyze it, it's the parents feeding
the kids
this mentality of like, we're not good enough.
Yeah, they don't want to talk to us.
They don't love us. They think they're all that. They're traveling everywhere. And it's like, man, that type of imagery you portray on your children and they portray it on their children. And before you know it, it's like, and it's not meant for that.
Yes. And the confidence is shattered.
The confidence in family, the confidence in love, it's shattered. Before you know it, they're strangers to their own families. So I'm saying all that again, going back, confidence at home goes so much further than just the external.
I love when you said at home, though. You pointed to your soul. Though.
Exactly.
Confidence at home starts with you in it. So you have to have confidence in yourself. That phrase does not mean in you and your ability necessarily, but confidence in you that you can then project on your work and your family and those you touch. Difference.
Because it's easy for even in the workplace to have your employees, you project whatever you're feeling to your employees, then they project it on their employees and so on and so forth. Before you know it, you have this toxic environment.
The whole culture.
Where people hate each other, where people can't stand each other, where people are talking and bickering about each other.
Yes.
And it's like, what kind of company is that?
And it started from
you. And it always starts, bro, from the head.
Always.
And it trickles down. But it's always, and you always like say like, well, let's pinpoint, like, where's it coming from?
It's always going to start from there. That's wonderful, bro. I think this has been amazing, man. You have any closing thoughts? Anything you want to do in terms of summarizing it? Any little points that you want to really highlight?
I think you guys, at least from what we did, we analyzed what our confidence was.
Yes.
And where it was coming from and who it was coming from.
Yeah.
And we also analyze who or what elements are leeching off that confidence from
who we're giving it to.
So I think you guys should do an exercise and just write down things that you lack in your confidence, because every one of you is capable of doing anything you feel called to.
Absolutely correct.
In the workplace, at home, in personally,
in your business,
you can do it. It's just up to you. And again, it's easier said than done. And you're like, Carlos, I've heard that time and time again, but it is a fact.
You just have to do it.
It's true.
It doesn't matter how many times we've heard it.
Exactly. You need to become the person you really want to be. Stop talking about the person you want to be. Become
just
it.
Become.
Be it. And I would say write down an exercise. Sit down. Personally, just yourself.
Yes.
And start checking out, what am I doing that is affecting who I want to be? Who am I having relationships with that are affecting who I want to be? What am I doing? Am I at the right workplace? Like, I'm unhappy.
Yes.
Excuse me.
That's okay. Unhappy here. Am I in the right circle?
Am I revolving around things or situations that I might not need to be?
And look at your finances. Some people that say they don't have money, they don't have it because they spent it. That's in essence what it really comes down to. I'm not talking about where you're just having trouble making ends meet, but your finances also tell you where your confidence is. If you're spending a whole lot of money on this, you need to break down, just like Carlos is saying, do an activity also and look at what you're spending. If you don't have a budget, at least go on your bank statement and ask or highlight all the times you went out to eat or all the times you purchased this entertainment, all these things. And those things could be hindering you from becoming what you or who you are meant to become as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we do and we spend that are, what's the word? Temporal.
Yeah.
Like quick, because they're quick fixes.
Yes. They make feel good for a moment.
Yeah. For a moment. You eat that cupcake because it's like, oh, it tastes so good. You go to the fast food because it tastes so good. But then it's like, you feel bad afterwards. Right. Start living a life, and this is, I'm preaching to myself.
We're listening to ourselves.
Because it's start living a life that actually is a different life. That's going to bring joy, not only to you, but the people that are around you. First, you have to think about you, because you can't give from an empty cup. If you have nothing, how are you going to give to others? Absolutely. So fill yourself, listen to your gut, start noticing changes or things that you need to do different from, maybe you're going to the wrong gym.
Yeah.
Maybe
morning routine.
Yeah. Maybe you need to change your routine.
Yep.
Maybe you need to wake up early or wake up later.
Yep. Or take some of that money that you were putting in all these areas. See how much you're spending. You know you have that much. Invest it into a course or go to a networking event or go find a mentor.
There's this phrase that it's in Spanish, but you hear it everywhere. But it's, dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Well, you looked at it as if you understood. I'm impressed.
Well, say
tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you who you are.
Yeah, I was close.
And it's one of those things where it's like, if you are around people that are constantly judging others, criticizing others, gossiping, and just pointing out the negative.
Yeah.
And this happened in the workplace. Like I fell in that trap too, where it's like gossip. Like this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. And it's like, where does it get you?
It will get you nowhere.
It gets you nowhere. You end up hating some people. You end up annoyed at some people.
And you also know it yourself, because we all feel that on the inside. You know, you didn't have a successful work day. You spent the whole day gossiping and talking and just trying to get through the day.
Yeah.
No control.
And not because you don't have confidence right now means that you're not going to get any.
Yes.
It will come.
Yes.
But it's up to you.
Consistency.
It's up to us. It's up to what we do, consistent behaviors that we do. So, yeah.
My brother.
It was a long thought, but I think it's a
great thought, man. And I think if anybody was listening to that, I hope that you really felt the truth and the genuine place we come from. Our heart in what we're doing is intentionally meant to push you forward. And again, we're not gurus. We're just letting you learn alongside us as we learn with you. And also we're asking questions of people throughout our week as we learn from them. So humbly, we want to say thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you continue to follow us, like, subscribe. If you have thoughts from this, because I know that there are things that you've been thinking about, don't just close the browser. Please type in there. Just say, hey, this was interesting, or I hated this point, but I would ask that you elaborate. Whatever. We're open to conversation. We even open to criticism, because we're going to grow regardless. And we want to say thank you for your time. We're praying God's favor and blessing over your life. Again, this is Rebound and Rebuild. And I will tell you the truth. After listening to that, you have some great steps to do both. All right, man. Until next time, this is Coach Charles.
And Carlos, the creator.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner